with their nails done now.
Movie opens up in northern Greenland, where a massive snowstorm is blurring the view of everything. We hear thunder dropping and lighting the zone for a second, then IT strikes and we see giant shape which is inside the storm. IT gets closer and we get to see Godzilla which is coming out from storm. Then he looks at something and he roars. Then we see Titaness Scylla which is heading towards the villages of Greenland. Godzilla roars at her and Scylla roars back. Godzilla goes towards her. Scylla jumps on him and she starts stroking Godzilla. Godzilla takes her out and he drops her on the ground. Scylla tries to get up but Godzilla throws her in the sea with his tail. Scylla starts coming when Godzilla jumps on her and he drowns her underwater. Scylla tries to resist but she is too weak to confront Godzilla. Godzilla then catches her through one of her legs and he starts taking Scylla up to the shore. Then he takes her to the land. He drops her and he looks at Scylla with so angry face. Scylla tries to attack him but then she sees that Godzilla's dorsal fins are getting blue. Scylla gets a bit confused but she strikes anyway, and that's when Godzilla unleashes his atomic breath. And he burns Scylla. Scylla was getting burnt and Godzilla wasn't stopping his atomic breath. Then Scylla finally got drilled. Godzilla stopped his atomic breath and he roared as the sign of victory. After that we see Monarch Base. We see Mark Russell which is walking in hallway. We see him getting in a meeting center where the Monarch is discussing what caused massive awakening. Then they see Mark and they ask him about his life. Mark says that his family is fine and he is interested about second massive awakening. Something like that never happened after Ghidorah. Then Mark asked, what if another sound awakened them? Then Monarch members answered that satellite detected small sounds from the sky. Then Mark said with nervous face, I hope that's not another alien, but they answer that all the evidence they've got right now is saying that. Then we see underground base of Apex, which still exists. We see Alan Jonah which is bored. Then we see Conrad which is even older now. Then we get to see Jacob Thomas and Nancy Conrad which are also doing nothing. Then Alan Jonah says that they must do something. Just sitting there and waiting for Titans to take over the world wasn't enough for him. He wanted to do something too. But then Conrad told him to chill, and whatever was awakening those Titans would do the job itself and they should just wait. Then Jacob asked, Isn't there anything we can do to make this happen faster? Then Nancy asked him, what do you think? And the silence got set in the room. Then Alan Jonah said, you are probably right. We can't do anything but to wait. Then Conrad asked Jacob if there was any beer left and Jacob answered that few bottles were left. Then Alan Jonah took the bottle of beer and he said, to the end of this world. After that we see Rudin which is flying above the sea. Then he gets to the shore of northwestern Greenland and we see Godzilla which is walking on the land and Mothra is sitting on his dorsal spines. Rudin flies and sits down in front of Godzilla. Godzilla and Mothra look at him and Rudin flies up and he starts flying around Godzilla and Mothra to balance the speed of walking and flying. Then we see destroyed Las Vegas where Methuselah and Behemoth are walking and they are smashing everything to the ground. They are seeking for something to kill and destroy. Then we see Jet shooting at Behemoth. But Behemoth swings his cuspids and he smashes IT to the ground. As IT seems Behemoth and Methuselah smashed few towns before they got to Las Vegas. After that we see Godzilla, Mothra and Rudin at Greenland. Godzilla starts swimming into the ocean and Mothra and Rudin sit on his dorsal spines. Then we see Osprey flying above the sky and we see Godzilla swimming in the sea with Rudin and Mothra with him. Then shot goes to direction where Godzilla is swimming and we see Skull Island. After that we see jungle and soon something steps on trees and we get to see Kong which is fighting skull crawlers which were also awakened by voices from the space. Kong throws the skull crawlers away and sometimes he steps on them. Then Kong looks at skull crawlers which are trying to escape from him using hollow earth. Kong gets angry and he catches them and throws them up. Then we see military helicopters which are flying towards Skull Island and they start shooting at skull crawlers. Kong keeps fighting because skull crawlers are so small and it's easy for Kong. Then one of the skull crawler climbs into the hollow earth and starts escaping. Kong catches him and he eats him. Then we see around 10 skull crawlers which are running towards Eve people which aren't hidden well enough and Kong is far away from them. He knows that he can't reach them but he starts running towards them anyway. Skull crawlers were only 50 meters away from Eve people when Mothra came and sat in front of skull crawlers. Then Rodin flew from the left and took 2 skull crawlers with mouth. And another 2 with his claws. Then remaining skull crawlers started roaring at Mothra. But after 5 seconds Godzilla came from behind Mothra and he was looking at skull crawlers with so scary face. Skull crawlers got scared and they started running towards Hollow Earth entrance. Then Godzilla started charging his atomic breath and he soon shot it to skull crawlers and he burned them all. Then Godzilla looked at Mothra, then he looked at the front and he saw Kong which was standing and staring at him. Godzilla said hello in Titan language. Then Rodin came and sat behind Godzilla. Mothra sat on Godzilla's dorsal spines and Kong started laughing happily. Then we see Eve people which stand on rocks and watch 4 titans communicating with each other. Then Godzilla and Kong hear some roaring sounds from the beach. Then Kong looks at the beach and he sees Titanus Sargon, a giant scorpion, and Titanus Quetzalcoatl, a giant colorful bird, which are attacking Skull Island. Kong gets angry and he roars at them. Then Godzilla starts roaring too. And Mothra and Rodin fly towards them to attack them. Then Godzilla and Kong look at each other. They make badass faces and they start running towards them too. We see Titanus Quetzalcoatl and Rodin which are going in the sky to fight. And Mothra follows them. Then we see Kong and Godzilla which are standing in front of Titanus Sargon. Sargon roars and he jumps on Kong. Godzilla tries to bite him but Sargon sticks his giant and poisonous tail to Godzilla and Godzilla gets exhausted and he crashes to the mountain. Then Kong hits Sargon in the face and he takes him out. Sargon falls on ground but he stands up immediately. Kong feels exhausted but then he smiles and he lays on the ground and that's when we see Godzilla with blue dorsal spines. Sargon gets scared and after 2 seconds Godzilla unleashes his atomic breath. It hits Sargon and Sargon starts being pulled back. Then Godzilla stops his atomic breath and he looks at Sargon which seriously damaged. Then Sargon stands up and he roars at Godzilla, but then he realizes that Kong isn't laying there anymore. He gets scared and that's when Kong jumps with his axe and he cuts off one of Sargon's arms. Sargon feels so much pain but then he swings his tail towards Kong. Kong dodges and he jumps on Sargon's back. Then Godzilla starts running towards Sargon and we get to Rodin, Mothra and Quetzalcoatl fighting. Rodin bites him but Quetzalcoatl dodges and starches Rodin, but then Mothra attacks him and he starts starching him. Then Rodin catches Quetzalcoatl through his legs and he starts dragging him to the ground. Then Rodin drops Quetzalcoatl on the ground and that's when Godzilla steps on his chest and he destroys Quetzalcoatl. Then we see Kong which is beating up Sargon and Sargon is grounded. Then Kong jumps away and he jumps on Sargon's tail because it represented some serious danger for them and he was holding it to the ground. Then Godzilla stepped on Sargon's stomach which was grounded upside down. And he started charging his atomic breath. Sargon tries to escape but they are holding him so strong, and Godzilla shoots his atomic breath to Sargon right in the face, and he kills Sargon. Then he feels tired and he decides to have some nap. So he lies near the beach. Then we see Monarch ships which are swimming towards Skull Island. We see Mark Russell on the yacht which seems so surprised by 2 dead titans on Skull Island. Then we see helicopters flying around dead bodies and taking pictures. Then we see Godzilla which is waking up and Rodin and Mothra fly with him. Then Godzilla starts swimming into the ocean and Rodin and Mothra follow him. Then Kong thinks if he should stay or not and he realizes that this island won't need protecting anymore cause Ospreys are taking Eve people to safe places. That's why Kong picks up his axe and he starts following Godzilla in the ocean. Then every Monarch member on Skull Island gets surprised by that kind of decision from Kong. But then they set 3 helicopters to follow Kong. Then we see Godzilla which is swimming in the ocean and we get to see destroyed Las Vegas. Then we get to see Methuselah which is walking in the streets of destroyed Las Vegas. Then we get to see Behemoth which is also looking for something to kill or destroy. Then we see Monarch soldiers which were in Las Vegas for some reasons but cause of Methuselah and Behemoth they were trapped in city. Then Behemoth sees them and he is about to crush them with his feet, but Rudin crashes to Behemoth and he pulls him away. Then Mothra joins him and she starts starching Behemoth. Then Behemoth takes Mothra out and he throws her away. Then he gets to Rudin and tries to hit him, but Rudin dodges and sits on Behemoth and he starts starching him. Behemoth roars at him and he tries to catch him, but Rudin is dodging so good, but then got near the remaining building and he made Rudin crash to it. Rudin fell on the ground and he felt so much pain. Then Behemoth was about to crush Rudin with his feet, but Rudin got up and he flew away. Behemoth first thought to chase him, but then he moved on and he turned back. But then he roar of Godzilla. He turns back and he Godzilla, which is standing in the ashes of destroyed Las Vegas. Behemoth gets a bit scared for seeing Godzilla, but then he roars at Godzilla. Godzilla roars back at him with intimidating sound and then Mothra joins and she sits on one of the remaining buildings. Then Rudin also comes and sits behind Godzilla. Behemoth gets so scared and he turns back with few meters. Then we see helicopter of Monarch which is going to Las Vegas to rescue soldiers which still are in the city. Soldiers in the city contact the helicopter and they tell their coordinates, but then they earthquake. Then Godzilla also feels that earthquake and he looks Behemoth which is standing absolutely still, but then Godzilla realizes that something really huge is coming up from the ground. Godzilla gets angry and curious at the same time, and we see Methuselah which is coming up from the ground, and he roars at Godzilla. Then soldiers which are in the city get so scared and they start running. Then helicopter arrives and picks them up, and it flies away. Then Godzilla gets angry and he starts going towards Methuselah and Behemoth. Then Mothra and Rudin also follow him. Behemoth and Methuselah also go to strike. Rudin and Mothra get to Behemoth while Godzilla starts fighting Methuselah. Rudin and Mothra are starching Behemoth. Behemoth tries to hit Mothra but Mothra dodges and she continues starching. Then Rudin realizes that Mothra can handle Behemoth somehow, but Methuselah is a bit strong for Godzilla, so he strikes Methuselah right in the eyes. Methuselah now has to fight Godzilla and Rudin, so he first crashes Godzilla using his heavy rib. Godzilla gets pushed away and he falls on the ground, but he stands up soon with little exhausted face. Then Methuselah throws Rudin away and he starts going towards Godzilla. Godzilla is exhausted but he goes towards Methuselah anyway. Godzilla strikes Methuselah and they continue fighting. Then Rudin wakes up and he sees Behemoth and Mothra. Then he realizes that Godzilla can't handle Methuselah himself and he'd only do the worst, so they got up and he also started Behemoth. Behemoth was getting really angry and he was trying everything, but Rudin and Mothra were holding on him really good. Then we see Godzilla which is holding on Methuselah's back and he is biting him in the neck. Methuselah tries to take him out but Godzilla is also holding really strong. Then Methuselah tries it really hard and he pushes Godzilla away. Godzilla stands up immediately and starts charging his atomic breath. Then Methuselah dodges and atomic breath strikes to his back, which of course has no effect on him. Then Methuselah turns to Godzilla and roars at him. Godzilla roars back and Methuselah starts going towards him, but then Kong jumps with his axe and he hits Methuselah in the neck. Methuselah's head gets halfway cut. Then Kong hits again and he cuts of Methuselah's head. Then Godzilla looks at Behemoth and we get back to Rudin, Mothra and Behemoth fighting, but then Godzilla crashes Behemoth and he drops him on the ground. Behemoth tries to stand up but Kong jumps on him and he is holding his axe, and Godzilla is staring at Behemoth with so angry face. Behemoth is looking at Godzilla like he is begging for the mercy. Then Godzilla signed Kong something and Kong got off Behemoth. Behemoth stood up and Godzilla signed him that if he'd do anything suspicious again he'd return for him. Behemoth left Las Vegas with so disappointed face and he went to Amazon jungle. Then we see Mothra which is sitting on Godzilla's dorsal spines. Then Rudin flies away. After that we see Kong which is swimming towards Skull Island. Then he finally gets to the shore and he realizes that the island is empty and giant buffaloes are killed. Kong first thought that humans did it, but then he saw destroyed ships of Monarch and dead soldiers which were laying on the beach. Kong gets angry and after 2 seconds giant brontosaurus-like creature, Titanus Mokelm Beam, hits his tail to Kong and Kong gets dropped on the ground. Then he stands up, looks back and he sees Titanus Mokelm Beam which is looking at him with so scary face. Then Kong gets angry and starts rolling at him. Mokelm Beam roars back and they run towards each other. Kong was about to punch him but Mokelm Beam swinged his tail and Kong got hit in the face, which of course left scars on his face. Kong got angry and he punched Mokelm Beam in a rib, and Mokelm Beam fell on the ground. Kong took him through his long neck and he threw him away. Mokelm Beam fell on the ground so painfully but he started standing up anyway. Then Khan enters the scene with his axe with so badass face. Mokelm Beam tries to stand up but Khan hits him his axe in the rib and Mokelm Beam falls again. Then Mokelm Beam begs for mercy but Khan roars so angrily and he hits him his axe in the neck, and he cuts off his head. Then he feels so tired and he sits down. Then he decides to sleep and he closes his eyes. After that we see Godzilla and Mothra at Manalope, Madagascar. Then we see them standing in front of Titanus, Leviathan and Abaddon. Then Godzilla roars and Mothra also roars at them, and Godzilla starts going towards them. After that we see Kong, which is sleeping on Skull Island, but some sound wakes him up. He looks at the beach and he sees Titanus Sekhmet, which is walking on Skull Island. Then he sees Kong and he roars at him. Kong roars back. After that we see Godzilla, which is going towards Abaddon, while Mothra goes towards Leviathan. Godzilla strikes Abaddon and Abaddon starts biting Godzilla. Godzilla bites him in the neck and he drops Abaddon on the ground. After that we see Mothra, which is starching Leviathan. Leviathan tries to bite Mothra but Mothra dodges and she plugs her sharps in Leviathan's body. Leviathan feels so big pain. Then Mothra opens up her wings and she starts taking Leviathan in the air. Leviathan is heavy but Mothra doesn't give up. Then Leviathan bites Mothra in a wing and Mothra falls down. After falling down, Leviathan takes Mothra with his mouth and he drugs her underwater. After that we see Godzilla, which is fighting Abaddon, but when he saw Mothra he pushed Abaddon away and he started going underwater. Abaddon stood up and he roared with disappointed face. Then he turned back and he was about to fly up when he heard sounds of Godzilla. He turned back and he saw Godzilla, which was holding dead Leviathan with his mouth. Abaddon gets angry and he flies towards Godzilla. Godzilla swings dead Leviathan and he hits dead Leviathan to Abaddon's face. Abaddon gets dropped on the ground with so exhausted face. Then Mothra sits near Godzilla and she starts looking at Abaddon, which is trying to get up. Then Godzilla starts charging his atomic breath. Abaddon finally stands up but Godzilla unleashes his atomic breath and he hits Abaddon in the face. Abaddon gets so damaged and his brain gets fried inside. And Abaddon falls again as dead. Then Godzilla looks at Mothra and he smiles. After that we see Kong, which is hitting muscles to Sekhmet. While Sekhmet is biting him in the neck, Kong takes him out and he punches him in the face. Sekhmet got dropped on the ground and Kong hit him his feet in the rib. That is so painful for Sekhmet but he stands up and jumps away anyway. Then Sekhmet jumped on Kong and he was about to bite him but Kong hit him in the face really hard that Sekhmet got dropped on the ground. Then Sekhmet tries to get up but Kong takes him through his tail and he throws Sekhmet away. Sekhmet crashed to a mountain and it was really painful for him. Then Kong went towards him. Sekhmet was trying to get up but he was so weak. Then Kong got to him and he hit his fist to Sekhmet right in the face. Then he took his axe and he turned back to hit Sekhmet, but Sekhmet was no longer laying there. Kong got angry and that's when Sekhmet jumped on him and he bit him in the neck. Kong tried to take him out but Sekhmet was holding so strong. Then Kong finally took him out and he dropped him on the ground, and he immediately hit his axe to him in the stomach. Axe opened Sekhmet's stomach and Kong took Sekhmet's organs out. Then he felt tired and started walking towards the sea to have taken a bath. After that we see Rodan at Indian Ocean. He is flying above the sea. Then we see giant bird-like dragon Titanus Tiamat, which is flying towards Rodan. Rodan starts flying faster and crashes to Tiamat. And they start starching each other. Rodan starts dragging Tiamat down but Tiamat escapes and attacks Rodan's back. Then Rodan turns around and starts spinning. Tiamat can't hold on Rodan anymore so he falls from Rodan and he falls in the ocean. But he soon comes up from water and gets back to Rodan. Rodan turns back to him and drags Tiamat through one of his wing. Tiamat escapes from Rodan but he loses small part of his wing. Then Rodan catches him through his head using his claws and he pulls him in the ocean. Rodan flies above the ocean while Tiamat is choking in the ocean. After flying for a while, Rodan just takes his claws off him and dead body of Tiamat drowns in the ocean. Then Rodan smiles and he starts flying up in the clouds. After that we see base of Apex. Alan Jonah is so pissed that awakened titans can't do anything against Godzilla. Then he says that Khan is another problem, while Conrad, Nancy and Jacob which are just listening to him while drinking last bottles of beer. Then Alan Jonah shouts with so angry face, "Why can't I do anything?" Then Jacob tells him to calm down but Alan Jonah asks him, "How should I calm down? My last hopes of restoring balance are getting destroyed." Then Nancy answers that he can't fix anything with shouting. Then Conrad agrees with Nancy and he offers some more beer to Alan Jonah. Alan Jonah calms down and he starts drinking beer, but then Jacob said that he had one idea. Then Nancy asked what kind of idea did he have. Then Jacob answered that there were 2 small Mechagodzillas remaining. He said that they could have stolen them and have attacked one of the Monarch outposts where Orca-like things are still being made. They could use signal top drag all remaining Titans at one place, and it'd be hard for Godzilla to fight 5 or 6 Titans. Then Conrad said that he liked that idea, and he told 30 remaining soldiers of Apex to get prepared to attack Skull Island. Then Jacob said that he was a genius, but after 2 seconds explosion happened behind them and then whole underground base started being bombed. Jacob, Nancy, James, Conrad and Alan tried to use another entrance to get out but Monarch soldiers blocked their way. Then Alan Jonah says, "Oh shit," and Monarch soldiers kill all 4 of them. Then Mark enters and he laughs, and he tells soldiers that threat from humans is no more. Then one of the soldiers gets to Mark and he asks him, "What should we do to this place?" Then Mark answers, "Destroy it." Then soldier tells other soldiers to set C4s everywhere and he gets Mark out from there. Then Mark gets into helicopter and he flies away from there. Then another soldiers also start flying away, and after 10 seconds the base gets exploded and it gets completely destroyed. After that we see spaceship where nearly 10 people are inside. Everything is usual, but then they see meteor which is going right towards them. They start panicking and they try to turn their ship to the right so meteor doesn't destroy them. They fly towards but meteor still touches it and spaceship gets completely destroyed. Then meteor gets closer to Earth. This meteor is nearly 60 meters in length and 50 in height, and the meteor falls in Mumbai, India. After that we see military helicopters flying towards fallen meteor. We see police which is already near the fallen meteor. Then Monarch members arrive there with jeeps. Then police of India asks them what they are doing there. Monarch answered that it's not just a meteor and there is something inside it. Then policeman smiled like it was joke for him and then he told Monarch members to have left the place. But then Monarch members said that they were allowed to be there. Then policeman got a bit angry and he got away from them. Then Monarch members opened door of one of the jeeps and we saw Mark Russell which came out from the jeep. Then he looked at the meteor. Then he asked, "Oh my god." Then one of the Monarch members started calling to the main center, Castle Bravo, of Monarch. And they brought some huge cameras to show this to Monarch in live. Then Mark looked at the meteor again and he noticed that there was purple lighting coming out from meteor. He got scared and he started telling everyone to leave this place, but no one listened to him, not even Monarch. And then he told one of the jeeps to have taken him to the closest helicopter of Monarch nearby. Then driver asked him why he was that frightened and Mark answered that something really huge was going to come out from that meteor. And that he had a feeling that they wouldn't like it. Then driver said, "Okay," and he started driving and he got away from the meteor. After that we see house of Mark and we get to see Madison which is watching TV where they are talking about that meteor which fell into India. They said that it caused loss of nearly 50 men, and that they were still counting it. Madison then got surprised and he called Mark Russell and she asked him if he was alright. Mark said that he was alright and that she shouldn't have worried about him. Then Madison said okay to him and she shut her phone. After that we see Mark Russell which is sitting in the jeep which is taking him to the helicopter. Then Mark tells the driver to drive a bit faster. But driver said that they were already there. Then Mark looked from the window and he saw helicopters of Monarch which were guarded by Monarch soldiers. Mark told driver to stop the car and he got out from the jeep. Then he started going towards helicopter but then someone interrupted him. He looked behind and he saw old Indian man which was in his 60s, and he was talking with normal English. He told Mark that he was right. Mark asked him, "Excuse me?" Then this Indian man told him that he also knew that something was about to come out from that meteor like Muto did in 2014. Then Mark asked him he knew that an Indian man pulled his pistol up and he aimed Mark. Mark jumped immediately and he got shot in the legs twice. Then Monarch soldiers caught Indian man and they started beating him up. And this Indian man was saying that he lost his best friend at Janjira, and he knew that it was never an earthquake. He knew that it was Muto but Monarch lied to people and they said that it was earthquake, and he was shouting really angrily that people knew it. Then he smiled and said it with so calm voice. The people knows it. Then Mark looked with confused face and after 3 seconds Monarch started getting shot with pistols. Mark looked at the shooting direction and he saw nearly 80 men with pistols and guns running towards Monarch helicopters. Then Monarch people started shooting at Rebellion of India. Then they took Mark in the helicopter and they started lifting the helicopter off. Then we see helicopter flying up and the people is still shooting at Monarch soldiers. Then helicopter passes fallen meteor where Indian people is also shooting Monarch members, as it seems India hates Monarch. Then Mark said, "Holy shit." Then we see Indian guys stubbing Monarch soldiers with knives. And Monarch helicopter disappears in the clouds. Then we see Indian guy which is picking up a weapon of Monarch soldier which is dead. Then he gets on the top of the damaged jeep of Monarch and he shouts in Hindi, "We did it, men. We did it. They should know that they should never come to this place. They are liars. And they must die." Then Horde agrees to him and starts shouting with glory and happiness, but then meteor starts breaking behind the Indian guy on jeep. He looks behind and he sees that something is growing out from the meteor. Then it pulls out its purple tail with white spines. Then he pulls out its legs. The Indian horde start running away but the man on jeep stares at it. Then something really huge, 75% Godzilla-like comes out from it and it starts roaring with so loud. Indian man loses his mind and it falls off from a jeep. Then new titan called Space Godzilla looks at horde of Indian people which are still running away. He charges something and he blasts out his atomic breath, and he burns everyone. Then he starts destroying buildings nearby but then he hears of Godzilla. He looks so angry and he turns back. He sees Godzilla which is going towards him slowly. Space Godzilla roars at him with so angry sound but then Rodan brings part of the building and he throws it at Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla gets a bit hurt and then Godzilla hits him his tail right in the face. Space Godzilla gets exhausted and that's when Mothra strikes him in the face and she starches his face so badly. Then Space Godzilla gets pissed off and he jumps far from Godzilla, Rodan and Mothra. He roars at them and the trio of Godzilla roars back. Then Space Godzilla jumps towards Rodan and he jumps on Rodan. And after 1 second he hits his huge tail to Mothra and he throws her away. Then Godzilla bites him in the neck. Space Godzilla takes him out and he hits Godzilla with his atomic breath. Godzilla falls on the ground and Space Godzilla is roaring at him. Then Mothra attacks Space Godzilla's face and she starts starching him. Space Godzilla bites Mothra in one of her legs and she starts hitting her to the buildings. It damages Mothra so much and then Space Godzilla drops Mothra on the ground and he is about to step on her when Rodan crashes him and he pulls Space Godzilla away. Space Godzilla tries to catch Rodan, keeps starching and dodging. Then Space Godzilla starts spinning his tail around and he hits Rodan in the face. Rodan falls on the building and building starts getting destroyed, and Rodan falls in dust. Then Space Godzilla looks at Godzilla which is standing up shakily. Space Godzilla roars at him with so intimidating face. Godzilla goes towards so shakily. Space Godzilla swings his tail and he drops Godzilla on the ground again. Then Space Godzilla starts looking at Godzilla like a demon. Then he was about to unleash his atomic breath when Kong threw axe at him and the axe got plugged in Space Godzilla's rib. It was so painful that it made Space Godzilla fall on the ground. Then Kong got to him and he took his axe from Space Godzilla's rib. Then he was about to hit Space Godzilla with his axe in the face when Space Godzilla struck Kong with his atomic breath. Kong got fallen on the ground but he started standing up immediately. Space Godzilla jumped up and he jumped on Kong. Kong fell again and he started losing his power. Then Space Godzilla was about to shoot his atomic breath again when Behemoth crashed him and he threw Space Godzilla away. Then Space Godzilla started going towards Behemoth but Godzilla bit him in the neck and he started dragging him towards the ocean. Then Space Godzilla jumped towards and he shot his atomic breath to Godzilla. Godzilla dodged and then Mothra got to her and she starched his face. Space Godzilla took her out but then Rodan came and he pushed Space Godzilla to the ocean. Space Godzilla fell into the ocean but he started swimming up. But then Godzilla jumped on him and he started dragging Space Godzilla underwater. Then he brought Space Godzilla halfway to the finish of the underwater, and he just got off him. Space Godzilla was trying to swim up but he was too heavy. Then Godzilla went towards Space Godzilla. Then we see Kong which is standing up and he looks at the ocean. Then we see shot of Behemoth which is already looking at ocean. Then we see Rodan sitting next to the Kong and soon Mothra sits on Behemoth. They are all waiting for Godzilla or Space Godzilla to show up. Then we see head of Space Godzilla coming out from ocean. Behemoth and other 3 Kaiju's prepare for battle but then we see Godzilla coming up from an ocean and holding head of Space Godzilla. And then he drops it and he roars as the sign of victory. Then we see Kong which is signing Titans to follow him, and he starts swimming towards the ocean. Then Behemoth and Godzilla also get in the ocean and Mothra and Rodan are sitting on them. Then we see live television where the disasters are happening and news reporter is saying, "There has been too many bad things happening on this earth after the death of the Titans. I don't even know which one to begin from. Let's begin it with huge earthquakes between Africa and Saudi Arabia. Those earthquakes could cause entire continent to be detached from Asia and even be drowned in the ocean in a few years. Also, entire Antarctica has started to melt down and we should probably be warned for massive tsunamis in a few weeks. Also, there had been reported over 24 wildfires in different countries and villages. Thousands of houses were burned because of that. Also, I can't forget to mention massive number of birds which were attacking cities and causing car crashes. Already 500 people were killed in car accidents caused by thousands of birds. And what about Godzilla? It's already been 3 weeks since Godzilla, Kong, Mothra, Rodan and Behemoth have moved to Skull Island, while our planet is experiencing changes that will remain in the history forever. Godzilla, Kong and other titans live peacefully on Skull Island. Most of people thinks that Godzilla can't do anything about it cause the titans which kept balance are already, and Monarch also says the same. This world would anyway have been destroyed with or without titans. That was all, my loyal viewers. That world has already gone through a shit, and I hope it won't get deeper. And yes, have a nice day. You can never know when it's your last one.